It's Holy Week, and Filipinos have several traditional practices in place as we observe the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Now, joining us for a conversation is historian Xiao Chua. Xiao, we love having you. Good morning.
It's a beautiful morning at
Magkasaysayang umaga.
There you go!
Yes!
So happy.
I've been practicing it this morning.
Yay! Thank you guys. And to all our watchers here in Billionaire.
And hi to Xiao's mom, because I know she's your #1 fan, right? Your mom's
She's
watching right now.
Tarlac
Yeah. So, Xiao, I love learning from you. I love when you're here on the show. Let's talk about Holy Week, Semana Santa, and how it's different here in the Philippines compared to other countries and how it's evolved over time.
Well, I've been mulling about it because if you're going to look at this is the time of the commemoration. The Holy Week is the commemoration of the passion and death of Jesus Christ, okay, to save the world from sin. And basically, that's supposed to be solemn and reflective and all of that. Now, of course, that's also what's expected, especially before. When there was no television, there was really nothing to do.
Right.
And you're not supposed to make any noises and all of that. But I think there's also an element of kapwa because in Europe, it's really contemplative, reflective. It's a personal thing.
Right.
But when you talk about Philippine Holy Weeks, it's or Quaresma, they call it. It's really about being together, worshiping together. So you see Palm Sunday, people are waving palms.
Yeah.
And then within the week they read the long epic called the Passion.
Yeah.
Pasyong Mahal. They did not read the Bible before because it was forbidden by the church during the time of the Spaniards.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, because the church thought that if people will read the Bible themselves, they will interpret it and there will be many religions. So what happened was one of he was an Indio, a Filipino, who wrote the Passion. He was under the Jesuits. So he was able to popularize the life of Christ, just like the epics before the coming of the Spaniards, when the hero's life was sung, was chanted.
Yeah.
And so people chant this. There are certain tunes in every locality. Do you want me to give a sample?
Sure, please.
Sure.
So for example, I'm going to, ayan. At di ko minamaganda ang ugalit aral niya, ako'y tumalikod na at nagsisising talaga, ano't ako'y nakasama. So, and they will read this for a whole day. It covers the salvation story from Genesis, from the fall of Adam, to the end of the world.
You know, Siya, I love that kasi when we look at how Filipinos celebrate yung Holy Week, it feels very performative. I'm not sure how to
definitely.
compare it to the rest of the world. Kasi, may senakulo tayo, you mentioned yung passion natin, and then you even have yung penitensya, then you have those who get themselves crucified as well to experience everything. And at the same time, yung passion mahal reminds me of pati nga yung ancient Filipino tradition of oral history. So is that all combined to make it distinctly Filipino yung pag-celebrate natin?
Well, first of all, Filipinos are very visual.
Super.
So we have to. That's why we also have penitensya, which is how we say sorry for our sins through penance.
Yeah.
No? And we do it quite bloody. But it also the performative aspect is also because it's educational. You have to teach the life of Christ. You have to not a lot of people read at that time. So it has to be performed.
But does it have to be that gruesome and bloody?
Well, the penitensya is, then again, people really here, that's why you like soap operas. We like to really show how the remorsefulness. And also, there's an element there of wanting to be healed. Because this is where you see folk Catholicism, as experts would say, is that the melding, Catholicism here in the Philippines is strong and even becoming more strong because of the melding of the old tradition before the coming of the Spaniards and the new religion, which is Catholicism. We saw that it has the same teachings, kapwa, love your neighbor. So yeah, that's why a lot of things are performative and done with the community. Passion, for example, there's a lot of food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So people
yeah.
will bring food and will contribute money for food so that people can be fed. And this is prevalent in many other Lenten traditions, that there would be a pakikipagkapwa through eating, through worshiping together, singing together, and it's a lot of pakikipagkapwa.
How different is our traditions? You know, how we observe the Holy Week. How is it different from how the other countries celebrate the Holy Week?
Well, then again, there are a lot of. For me, I think the distinction really is the solemnity, because many times they're too solemn in Europe.
Okay.
But here we allow a little bit of color.
Okay.
If you look at the processions in the Philippines, the Lenten processions, again, the visuality, you talk about the life of Christ through the images.
Right, yes.
You will see that there are lots of flowers, there's music, there's all of this. And singing, I mean, even the act of singing.
Yeah.
This is really how we do it with style, shall we say. And then, of course, the crucifixions, all these penitentia, they're done en masse, and people watch them. And it's really a public faith, shall we say. So rather than a contemplation, they do that as well. But I think there's tourists come here also to observe our Holy Week traditions.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from what I understand, different regions here in the Philippines, or different provinces, they have their own unique Holy Week
yes.
take. So what are those regions, and what's like the history behind them?
So one example would be in Marinduque. They have what we call they've been doing for more than 100 years. It's called the Moriones.
Moriones.
So it's the life of Jesus, but taken in a different angle. So what they do is, they took the story of the traditional story of the one who pierced Jesus with the lance in the side.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they took that tradition. There's a tradition that the guy's name, the Roman soldier's name is Longinus. And then he wanted to check if Jesus was already dead or alive.
Yeah.
So he
So he
pierced.
poked them.
So blood and water flowed, which means that the person is dead.
You're right.
So what happened was, I think it was like Randy Santiago. His eyes is like this.
Yeah.
So what happened was, when the blood and the water, I think one of his eyes was the eyes were parang tumulo nga doon,
Yeah.
tumalsik, and then he was able to see.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the story. So what happened was, this Roman soldier became a Christian and started to preach about the gospel.
Yeah.
And so the Roman soldiers went to catch him, because he's now breaking the law, because Christianity was forbidden, or
Yeah.
another religion was forbidden. So what happened was, they were able to catch him and they beheaded him. So basically, the story, what they do in Marinduque is, they wear these hideous masks of Roman soldiers. A lot of them, they were searching for the guy with the
Bad eye.
the bad eye. So that's how so they go around the town. They're like, they're bullying children and all of that, doing bad things. I mean, just for fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the highlight of it is to behead
Catch
Longinus,
the-
to catch
Yeah,
and behead
yeah.
Longinus.
That sounds so scary.
Wow, that's so interesting.
So it's interesting. I mean, for children to actually, and then it's a whole town who participate.
Yeah.
So it's like a community thing once again.
That's insane. And of course, syempre we talked about Cenaculo a while ago and
Yes.
talked about the performative aspect. But I also want to put focus on the fact that binibida din natin si Mother Mary, which is
Oh, yes.
for maybe other cultures probably don't put a lot of premium on the role of Mother Mary. I think that's evident sa salubong natin when we actually
yeah.
celebrate the meeting of Jesus and Mother Mary in at the end of Holy Week, which honestly feels like we are put in the place of Mother Mary. Is that relatively unique to the Philippines, considering na medyo matriarchal yung ancient society natin?
Yeah, ang sabi nga Pueblo Amante Maria tayo. We're a people who love Mary.
Yeah.
So of course, other countries respect Mary. They also have Marian devotions and
Yes.
all of that. But I think it's stronger in the country because of the matriarchal society that we have. And some of those who study how do you call it, misosology, also take into account that perhaps our fascination with beauty queens and dressing them up, and having a lot of respect for beauty queens, because we don't see them as, you know, we see them as people bringing honor to us.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really based on that, our Marian devotions. When you look at the processions, we dress up Mary and we put a lot of lights to her and flowers and all of that. And so, and because pag Pilipino talaga, yung nanay, ano talaga very, very close tayo sa nanay. Sa babae, we have a lot of respect for women in this country, even before the coming of the Spaniards. So, I guess that also comes into play. Parang hindi kompleto si Jesus kung wala yung nanay. Yun yung ano doon, message.
It's like yung procession ng mga Mother Mary minsan parang Miss Universe parade float eh.
It's actually so interesting.
Parang the May, what's that May, Santa
Flores
Cruz?
de Mayo.
Yeah, Flores de Mayo. That
Yeah.
actually is like a pageant too.
And pageant siya, and also, ano na yun, Flores de Mayo na yun. It's not only Lent, but it's not Lent na. Pero, if you're going to look at it, that features the stories of holy women and saints. Women,
Yes, yes.
So, Judith, Esther, di ba? Queen Helena. So, ano yun? So, that's how we actually respect women in this country, in general.
Nag-evolve na ba yung mga traditions natin? And syempre, from sabi mo nga kanina, 100 years ago, we started doing these traditions. More than 100 years. How has it evolved na? Naging modernized na ba now?
Well, yung diwa nandun pa rin. It's the spirit still comes to, I mean, ano yan ang history naman, ano yan parang mga diwa yan na nagpapatuloy in time. Nag-iiba lang yung transmission.
Okay.
So for example, in the Cenaculo, Don Bosco, St. John Bosco Parish in Tondo, an urban poor parish, they create this Cenaculo movies since the pandemic, because the pandemic forced us in. There are no performances. So they have like a quarantined version of the Cenaculo in film, and this year they're going to release their fourth film, and then pinaglalaro na nila yung kwento. It's not just Jesus' life, but they put a life of a person in the present or in history juxtaposed to the life of Jesus. So last year they had the Translation. So they put a devotee's life and then in juxtaposed to the life of Christ. And then this year, I just watched it last night. They had the premiere and they invited me. Because of the 80th year of World War II and the end of World War II in the Philippines, they juxtaposed the life of the young kids after the war, how they struggled, and the life of Jesus. So, and how the life of Jesus actually gives us hope. Despite the fact that there's so many things that are happening to us in our country, from the time of the war, revolution, and the dictatorship, and today, our hope is that Christ was able to. Good Friday is not the end of the story. Christ was able to resurrect, and our country was able to make it. I mean, we're still here. We're still standing. So, it gives hope. The Holy Week actually gives us hope for a better future, because Christ rose up from the dead.
Right. Well, I want to go back to what you talked about earlier, because I'm so curious about it, because we talked about how most of the stuff during Holy Week is theatrics.
Yes.
But like we talked about, like self-flagellation and the crucifixion, like the actual act of doing it, it just boggles my mind. So correct me if I'm wrong, are we the only, I guess, country in the world that does that? And what is the significance of it? Like, I know you mentioned people feel like they get cleansed, but is that violence, that gruesome, really needed?
Well, it's debatable if it's needed. I'm not a theologian. So if I talk about matters of faith, it's really, I'm looking at it at the lens of culture. So of course, when we talk about cultural relativism, we have to respect why people do it rather than the morality of it. No? So the church actually does not totally agree. Does not totally approve of the self-flagellation. And I do not think that, it's probably there's probably other versions of it. I think done privately, but not as publicly as this.
Right.
So yun yung ano doon. And you know, there's a belief during the time of our ancestors, according to the anthropologist Fernando Cialcita, that when someone was sick, you actually kill a pig or a chicken, and then you wiwisikin mo nung dugo yung may sakit.
Yeah.
So healing. So same. You shed blood so Christ shed blood for the healing of sins in the world and healing of people who are sick. Same with us. Jesus said, take up your crosses and follow me. And so we Filipinos, we are a visual people. We took that quite literally.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. And there's a transformation of, after everything, they feel refreshed. They feel that they can start again their lives. So if again, who am I to judge if these people, you know, become better persons after, then that's their thing.
Right,
Yeah.
to each its own.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember, even growing up, I remember actually being part of like groups that would actually carry the cross from house to house, doing yung mga stations of the cross.
Stations of the cross.
Yeah.
Via coaches.
Yeah, and then may mga bisita iglesia nga, which some people are debating whether 14 churches or 7.
We were talking about that the other day, right?
No, 14 because people think that the proper way to do it is do the stations of the cross.
Yeah.
So sometimes they visit 7 and then they divide the stations of the cross by 7, so two stations each. But actually, there's a correction that was posted in the internet that a bisita iglesia is actually meant for the adoration of, for every Holy Thursday, for the adoration of the Blessed Sacrament.
Yes.
And bisita and stations of the cross actually defeats that because people mill around.
Right.
It's not reflective. But again, we have Pinoys.
Yeah.
So
we need to act it out.
Yeah.
So it's like it's really like also so aside from the spiritual benefits of doing the stations of the cross in the Visita Iglesia, I think I also take it as an educational moment. It's a cultural moment. When you go to churches, you look at architecture, you look at their history while praying. So you also learn about yourself, our identity. As a people when you do these traditions.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk about this the entire day. I wish we had more time, but we are almost running out of time, done with our interview. But I wanted to focus the spotlight first on the book that you just launched, right? You have a new book where you put the spotlight on 20 great Filipinos.
That's one.
Not that
this
book. It's
one.
that book actually on the
I
video.
was so excited about this one.
Yeah. I'm sorry that's not the source where we got it from.
No, it is.
It's a shout time.
Philippines, they posted it?
Yeah, because they're they're part of the publishers.
Oh, okay, my bad. So there it is.
Oh.
So can you tell us a bit more about it?
Also, I had a show called Xiao Time. It's a segment on television.
Yes.
People's Television from 2012 to 2017. I created 640 episodes, 641 episodes of Xiao Time, some of them about heroes. So this is just the first 2 volumes about Philippine heroes, the major national heroes that we have. And aside from the script of the Xiao Time, which is more or less tongue-in-cheek, I do them tongue-in-cheek so the kids can understand them. The illustrations are superb. And their QR codes use modern technology to look for to bring you to sources to the actual videos where they got
that
the
is so
scripts.
cool.
So it's a very interactive book, very colorful. The pictures are nice.
Yeah, the photos are beautiful.
Yes.
But
So
Xiao,
parang
I'm seeing,
history of each of the heroes.
Yes.
Okay.
is
So-
there an English translation?
Oh, wait, we can work on that.
We'll make one
I'm
for
trying to
Mo.
read it. I said I want to read it, but oh no.
We'll do a read along with
See,
Mo.
Pananam, Palataya.
Pamana, Panata, and Panananampalataya.
Close enough. But
too many
are there
keys.
any controversial omissions or inclusions in that we should look out for?
Omissions where?
In the 20 Great Filipinos?
Oh, the inclusions, well, it's debatable, but it's really because they had portraits also that were made before projects inside the publisher.
Yeah.
So that's why we customized all those that have portraits. But I think they would agree with some of the inclusion. There are also local heroes that we
Okay,
included. So it's and women heroes. So it's an inclusive bunch there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
You know what, Xiao? I wish we had the whole show.
I
to
wish you
talk
could read
to
it.
you.
Yeah,
And I wish I can read the book. You know, so they'll read it to me and translate it to me. But also, before we leave, I just want to say congrats. You just got married.
Yay!
Thank
So
you, thank you.
congratulations.
Yeah, it has been a very happy 1 week or it's 1 month.
Oh, wow.
15.
Congrats.
I was married 15
Happy
March.
Mansary.
Yes.
Well,
thank you.
I like how he checked his watch to check kung 1 week or 1
The
month.
double check, because baka the wife will get mad.
Sinong mas magaling sa history, you or your wife?
Mas magaling ako. But mas magaling siya sa wika.
Ayun.
Kasi sa Philippine Studies,
okay.
Master of Philippine
I need
Studies.
to talk to your wife. I need to talk to y'all both. But thank you for joining us this morning,
Thank
Xiao
you,
Chua.
Xiao.
Thank you
Really
so much.
appreciate it.
The heroes and Jesus Christ, their example of sacrifice for a greater good, for a greater cause. I hope that we imbibe it also in our lives. Well, we try despite
Yeah.
our imperfections.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you again, Xiao. That was historian Xiao Chua.